Hey guys, what's going on? It's Dale here with Nativlo, and this video is for you if you are at the intermediate level, more specifically the stuck intermediate plateau level. As you can tell, I'm speaking quite fast, and if you are subscribed to my channel, and hello to everyone who is, but if you're new here, I am speaking faster than usual, and there is a good reason for this. If you want to speak native, or at least fluent, and confidently and naturally, you've got to get natural English into you. And unfortunately, with a lot of these teachers, and by the way, I'm not a teacher, I'm an English coach. The problem is with all these teachers is they're speaking very slowly and clearly and deliberately, enunciating every single word that they say. Does that sound natural to you? The main point of this video is to provide you some CI, comprehensible input, and essentially push your listening. So this is listening training for you right now. And like I said, I don't want to tailor it to your level. I need to push you higher. We need to level up. So I hope you do stick around in this video and stay to the end. Yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, I'm pushing you. Yes, you might be pissed off with me and frustrated. But I promise, in the end, if you stay to the end of this video, you will thank me. And at least in a few weeks, the more you repeat this, it will get easier and your level of English will skyrocket. I'm going to put lots of filler words in there, you know. So I mean like, you know, I don't know. I'm going to do all that because that is natural. I'm talking to you like you're just a friend, just a friend I'm chatting to, telling my really bad experience story that I'm about to tell you. Okay, stay to the end as well because it's a really there's a really good message at the end of this video that I wanna share with you. Bad experience, very bad experience. My personal experience that I went through, but by the end you might be like, oh, okay, I've learned something, not just with English, but I've learned something about life. So when I was younger, I just wanted to get away from England. I'd been living in my whole life. I was sick and tired. I was like, oh, sick and tired of this country. You know, it can be rainy, it can be windy, it can be miserable. People can be quite negative and difficult. I just thought, you know what, I wanted to get away, and I've never traveled before, so I just thought, you know what, this is the perfect time. Late 20s, perfect. I'm 31 now, but I was like, yeah, this is great. Let's go. Let's just do it, man. I've never traveled abroad, never had the money for it. But now I was like, at this point in the past, at this time, I was like, you know what, let's just do this. Let's do it. So I was deliberating where should I go? Spain, somewhere sunny. So Spain, Cyprus, Greece, maybe. But they were all, the problem was they were all way too expensive. And also, okay, that's not true. Spain wasn't expensive. Cyprus wasn't expensive. But what I meant by that is I needed to make quite a lot of money to be able to actually go into the country because they had quite a strict and stringent, like, no, you need to pass this, very stringent on people like me to come into the country, right? So I didn't pass, unfortunately. I didn't make nearly enough money. You needed to make like 3,000 euros a month, something like that, $3,000 or £2,500 UK pounds. Didn't make that much money. Most people don't, and I was just like, okay, cool. Let's figure out, we'll have to go somewhere else. And I was basically just Google searching for months and months, just like figuring out where am I going to go. That was a big disappointment, but I was like, you know what? And really it was my first sign not to do it. But we'll get to that in a second of how much worse it got for me. But I essentially was like, okay, well, let's just keep trying, keep pushing. And I Google searched, long story short, I decided on, well, not decided, but I found a few places. And they were really, it was just like checking like what are the easiest places to move to, you know, and number one was a place called Montenegro. You guys may not even know where that country is. If you're from like a Slavic country, you probably do, especially if you're from Croatia, but I don't have many Croatian, I don't think I have many Croatian subscribers on my channel, but it's next to Croatia and Albania. So it's very tiny little country. It's a very new country, actually. I think it was 2000, early 2000s, late 1990s when the country became independent. But yeah, it was a very unusual place for me to go to, and but the reason I did it is because like I thought, well, it's beautiful. I looked at all the images. It's gorgeous. It's picturesque, very picturesque, sunny. It's near the Mediterranean Sea, and I just thought, you know what, this could be a wonderful place to go, and I can learn the language. That's exciting. As obviously, I'm a language learner and lover, not just an English coach, an acquisitional English coach. But I was just like, you know what, this could be really fantastic for me, and I'm gonna get the sun, because it was the sun that I really needed, the sunshine, and the just the overall, just this very salubrious, a very salubrious place, meaning very healthy, very sunshine, lots of nature. That's what I needed. So I decided to go to Montenegro, and lots of paperwork involved. I had to figure out, what am I going to do, where, you know, how am I going to do this? And I decided to go through a website of a guy who helps you to move to Montenegro. That's his whole job. That's his whole business. And I was like, okay, cool. Let's try this guy. And it was like £2,000 for me to help you transition. But the thing that made me decide on Montenegro the most was, if you set up a business, the business that you're watching right now, Nativlo, my English coaching business, and it was literally, you know, that was it. That was what I was using. And I had something that I could say, yeah, this is my new business, and I can set up this bank account, set up this business in Montenegro using my Nativlo business, and I can start my business from there, because it's an online business anyway, so it doesn't have to be in the country. So I was like, perfect. And I made enough money. It was very low barrier to entry. I made enough money. It was super easy to tick and be approved and pass all the checks. And I just essentially was like, okay, this is it. This will be the one. And then now we're skipping to the day before going to Montenegro. I've spoken to the guy on the phone. I've prepared. In fact, we actually did a Zoom call, so I saw his face. We chatted. I felt like I trusted him a little bit. Had the money ready to pay him, and then to help me, you know, I had all the bank accounts set up for Montenegro. Everything was set up. It's all good. And then basically, I'm now the day before. I'm all ready to go, and had to go to somewhere called Bournemouth. So Bournemouth was the place I needed to go to, and that is quite far from London. And the reason I mention London is because most of you know London, but also I had to go to London the next day to get the plane. So I'd booked the plane, got everything ready, but and plane, by the way, is like aeroplane. Yeah, aeroplane, plane. And I had to get to the airport, which is where all the planes are, to get the flight to fly over to Montenegro. But yeah, London, Bournemouth was, let's just say I'm here on Portland, in somewhere called Dorset, and London is here, and Bournemouth is about here. So I traveled to Bournemouth, and then from Bournemouth, the next morning I had to go to London. I made my way to Bournemouth, and Bournemouth is not the best place. It's a bit rough, and the people are a little bit weird and stuff, and it's a bit of a sketchy place. So that's where kind of it all started, the problem. Got to Bournemouth. I had to get up super early the next morning at 4 in the morning, 3 or 4 in the morning, very early, and I had no sleep. The morning came, very tired, exhausted, and everything was just slowly going wrong. Right, it was all shit was starting to hit the fan really quickly, and I had to rush to get to the train station. Remember, I've got to get the train now from Bournemouth all the way to London, which is like 2 hours. So I got to Bournemouth, stayed the night. Now it's the morning, and then the morning comes. I have to rush to get the train. If I miss that, I'm done. I've missed my flight. My flight. Yeah. So the train was there. I got the train. I just made it, but I had to rush. I had a huge, you know, rucksack on my back. I was rucksack and my suitcase, carrying it. The wheel was literally half broken. It was all shaky and wobbly, and I just had to make my way up. And I'm running. My heart's doing this. I'm like rushing, and it was exhausting. I'm super tired. No sleep, no food. And then I make my way up to the train. I just made it in time. I'm feeling, okay, cool. That's all the stress out of the way. But I was so wrong. I was on the train, got to the airport, which was in was in London Gatwick. Heathrow was what came later, but I was in London Gatwick, which is the northeast of London. And yeah, not a very nice airport as well, but it was very stressful getting there. Got to London Gatwick Airport, and you've got to remember, guys, London is this huge place. It's very huge, and there's all these airports, but they're all spread over London, so they're very far from each other. And I'm sort of looking around thinking, okay, I've made it, good, I've got 1 hour to go. You got to remember as well, take into account that I have only traveled on a plane once, so I was new to traveling. I didn't realize how much time you needed to actually board and get ready. I thought 1 hour would be enough, but the thing is, guys, I got up as early as I possibly could to get to the flight, which I think was like 9:50 in the morning. I think I got there at 9 o'clock, and I thought, okay, I've just got enough time. 45 minutes is plenty of time. I got to the reception, the helper lady. She wasn't so helpful. I got to the reception, and she was like, "You've missed your flight." So I was like, exhausted. I got there, and she said, "You missed your flight." But you know what made it so much worse is that she was so rude to me, and she was being really negative, really angry and horrible, when I'm the one that should be angry, and she was getting angry with me. So this was a real problem, and I was just like, instead of just getting angry, I just walked away. I was like, okay, this isn't good, I've missed my flight. Let's not make it worse by having a fighting match with this lady, a shouting match with this lady. So I walked away. That was very unpleasant. She was really horrible to me, and I was like, what's going on? Do you know, like when you're trying to be all positive, and then there's this bubble of negativity around you? That's how I felt with this lady and this whole environment. Everyone was just looking at me weird, and everything was going wrong, which was just really weird. So there's a really weird energy going on, but I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna not let make it worse for me, okay? So I essentially was like, okay, what am I gonna do? I've committed to this. I've just spent £400. I've just lost £400. I was like, what am I gonna do? In the end, I decided to get the plane, and this persistence is what ruined me in the end. So this is the lesson, but wait to the end to find out the message of all of this and something I've learned about life. I decided all the signs were against me, and I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. And I was being so tenacious, so determined. I didn't give up. I'm just gonna go, even though life is telling me not to. So I went, I was persistent. I'm a very persistent dude, which in this case was a really bad thing. And I'll let you know why at the end. But I basically went, and I thought, okay, you know what? If I just get on the plane, everything will get better. But no, just getting back on that plane took me a whole day. And it was like, that was like one of the worst periods. It was so exhausting and so painful. I had no money, no food, no water, and well, not really anyway, not much water. And my family's back at home. It's a really difficult time, very tumultuous time for me. And but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do this. Let's just get over there, see the guy, see how I feel about Montenegro, and let's just go from there. But unfortunately, there was no more planes that day. So it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I had to wait until the next day. So I sat there. I asked the guy to help me. I'm booking in the thing. Cost another £400 or £500. It was very expensive for the next day flight. So I got the flight. Long story short, I booked the flight, got it sorted. Kind of thinking to myself, this was a bit of a mistake. I've just now spent 400 and 400. That's almost £1,000, like that, for nothing really, just to get to Montenegro. That's the most expensive flight I've ever seen. You know, just to get to one place that's only 2 hours away. It was ridiculous. So I ended up, you know, booking the plane for the next day, the flight for the next day. And unfortunately, I had to find somewhere to stay. You know, I couldn't just stay where I was. So unfortunately, remember what I said before about how big London was? I was in London Gatwick, but I had to get to London Heathrow. The plane for the next day, I think this was like, I was Friday, this was Saturday or whatever it was. The next day, it was in Heathrow, so I had to get to Heathrow Airport, and Heathrow Airport is huge, very difficult to sort of navigate around it and to get to it. So I had to get the coach down. It was a really painful journey all the way down, and then I had to find a hotel. I booked a hotel in as I was like on my way down, you know, from Gatwick to Heathrow, and I made my way down, and unfortunately I had to, you know, make my way to the hotel once I got to Heathrow, and that just so you know, guys, was a huge distance just from the hotel and Heathrow. And remember, you can't get out of Heathrow, so I had to get a bus or get a taxi or something. I couldn't just walk. It's too big to walk. It's too busy. You can't walk out of it. You've got to get a car or a taxi or a bus. So I ended up getting a bus out, and I didn't know where I was going. I was like, okay, whatever, let's just go, just try to find it. I got off prematurely, which was too soon. It means too soon. So I got off the bus, and the hotel was still miles away because I didn't want to go too far. I was worried that I was going to go too far. So I got off prematurely, and unfortunately, that was a huge walking distance. I had to walk it. So from Heathrow, so I got off Heathrow, got the bus, stopped off at a bus stop, and then from the bus stop, I had to then walk to the hotel with a massive luggage, a massive suitcase, and a massive bag on my back, and I'm exhausted by this point, of course. Anyway, long story short, I got to the hotel. All these signs were just telling me this was like the worst experience ever. Got the hotel, spent the night. It was a really horrible night. I was all emotional and upset about what had happened, and just in general, just physically not like out of sorts physically, and then of course mentally and emotionally. But then I got the plane. I got on the plane. I had to get there first thing in the morning. I think it was like 9 o'clock again. Got the plane, or maybe actually 8 o'clock, so it was really early. But from the hotel back to the airport at Heathrow, I got it. That's the good news. I'm there thinking, okay, everything's getting better. I was so wrong. So it got so much worse. And now that I was actually on the plane, I've got the plane, I'm making my way over. And by the way, a load of Germans came in for some reason, and they were all drinking, being really loud. And I was just like, oh no, I don't need this right now. I just want to be quiet on my own on the plane going over to Montenegro. And also, I'm not a very good flyer, so I was quite nervous. And then I had all these loud, gregarious, really loud Germans, no offense to Germans out there, but really loud Germans just like on the plane next to me, and they were surrounding me. I was at the back and they were all surrounding me, and it was just like, ugh. And then I get off in Montenegro, it is pouring it down, and I'm thinking, this is just not going well, is it? The one thing I needed, which is sun, and it's pouring it down, worse than even in England, for Christ's sake. And I got into the airport, and then this was one of this was the moment where I just was like, I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here. I'm going to to one of the ladies who helps you sort your phone out, to put essentially like a little SIM card, a card thing that allows you to use your phone in a new country. And I went there, I was like, okay, cool, let's get this. And once I got the phone, I can speak to the guy, I can call my mum and dad, I can just make myself feel a bit better, get myself, be positive. But then she's trying to sort it out. I'm fixing it her. She doesn't speak a word of English, by the way. And I don't speak any Montenegrin, the language. And yeah, we're like no communication. She's like, hello, goodbye, that's it. And I'm the same, dobre, whatever. And then literally she couldn't get it sorted. So she couldn't fix the phone. And she went from happy and smiley and trying to be nice to get away from me now. And she was so angry by the end. She was like, go, da 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 da. And I'm just like, what the hell? This was the moment I realized I shouldn't be here. This is not good. This is really bad. And then I'm also getting weird looks from people because of the way I look. I'm white, and I'm clearly not Montenegrin. I'm not dark skinned. They're all very dark skinned, and I'm very pale and white. And and I was just like, okay, this isn't good. I feel like such an outsider, such a foreigner. I felt really, what's the word? I felt like I was completely like not wanted, like get away. I don't want you to be here. That's what I felt in myself. So that was the moment I knew I shouldn't be there. But it got even worse. I got to the taxi. I went into the taxi, or just about to get into the taxi. I'm like, let's just get to the hotel, okay? I get into the taxi, and as I'm going, I'm like, doble, yeah, taxi. Get into the taxi, and then the guy's like, yeah, you pay me cash. And I'm like, no. I'm in the car now. And I'm like, no, I can only pay you with the card. And he's like, yeah, cash. Starts to drive, and I'm like, no, dude, I can only pay you with freaking cash. And then he starts getting angry, and I'm like shouting back, and he's like, pay me money, cash. And I'm like starting to panic. I'm in another country with people I don't know, speaking a different language, and there's like this big man in his car, and he's driving me somewhere, and I don't know where we're going. I don't know if he's taking me the wrong way. He could kill me. And I don't know this. And then now he's shouting in my face because I won't pay him. So I'm shitting myself. As you can imagine, it's a very scary situation. I'm laughing now, but back then it was very scary. I've done that a lot in my life. I've been in really scary situations. But I'm basically driving and he's like, cash, give me cash now. And I'm like, no, card. And then because my card doesn't allow euros, I could only get British pounds out, but like I didn't know where to get money. I didn't know what to do. I thought I could just tap with my card because I couldn't take money out. I thought I could just tap a card on his thing and he would, yeah, be paid. But no, I had to give him cash. That was the worst moment ever. And then he starts to call someone up and he's like, and then he put the phone to me and I had to speak to the guy and I said, no, I've got cash. I'll find cash. And it just becomes this like a movie moment where it's just like absolutely terrifying. Like they're all going to kill me or something, or like, you know, bandage me up and bloody like, poof, or something. I don't know. It just felt like that kind of moment. And the long story short, I did get them the money in the end. It took about 2 hours to get them the money. Absolute hellish, and I'm just like, I'm going home. So I made it to the hotel eventually, and he relaxed and he was quite nice at the end, but he scared the hell out of me. And then I got to the hotel, spoke to one of the guys in the hotel, and he kind of made me feel a bit better. He was really nice and friendly, but I had already made my decision by this point. I got to the hotel. That was the last straw when it came to the guy in the car. So ultimately, I made my way back home the next day. There was even more bad stuff that happened, but I won't tell you what happened. Basically, had to walk miles, missed the bus, you know, missed trains, all this kind of stuff. Started raining on me as I was making my way home. Loads of bad stuff. From the moment I made my way to Montenegro to when I came back, it was just bad. So my lesson to you is, listen to your gut. If something doesn't feel right, just listen. It felt bad, it felt wrong right from the start, but I just kept being persistent. I said, no, I'm gonna do it. Life or the universe is telling me not to do it, and I'm saying, no, I'm gonna do it because I know better. No, I didn't. And to finish off on a positive note, it was the best thing that could have happened to me, because if I had gone to Montenegro and I had, you know, done that and it had worked out, I would have never have met the most amazing woman in my life, Yana, who you guys will see on this channel. She's been in 2 videos. She's the most beautiful, amazing woman ever. And I'm very, very happy and lucky to be with her. And that would never have happened if I'd gone to Montenegro. So there you go. There's a bit of a life lesson there. If you feel something is wrong, don't do it. And also something better will come along in the end. So that's it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Go here now if you want to see more stuff like this, as well as speaking training. I hope you enjoyed this. Give a like, give a subscribe, and go watch this video here. All right, I'll see you in a bit.